Well, Tom, our next question for this series is from Jan L. The following problem is one that I have struggled to find a good and reasonable solution to. I can clearly see and understand that all the experiences we have are based on a data stream conveyed by our body, avatars, physical senses. This data stream is then interpreted by our mind or individual consciousness into meaningful and recognizable information. This information is what we call the external world. This means that my body, even though it is virtual, is also a part of this external material world. So my 5 virtual senses are sending sensory data to my mind, which interprets these data or this data into a world that my body is a part of. The problem I have is, how can there be sensory data before the virtual world with my body is manifested or created in my mind? My own understanding is that the data the mind receives comes directly from another source, LCS. But what about what we call sensory data? The body is created after sensory data is sent and processed in the mind into an external world that contains my body, hoping for an answer that provides a logical understanding of this issue of mine.
Problem you're having is the way you're construing the source of the information and how what information gets passed by what, when. Think of a virtual reality game that you might have played. We'll talk about The Sims maybe, or World of Warcraft. Two of my favorites because long time ago in a universe far away, my children played those games, so I'm a little familiar with those. And I've never played video games because I already was in my 40s before video games were invented. So in any case, think about how that works. Okay. Is there a problem with my elf or my barbarian smelling something, feeling something, being aware of a rose? No, there's no problem with your barbarian being aware of those things. It's like, how could that happen when I wasn't there? You're not creating this. Here's the way it works. This physical universe, the thing we call the physical universe, is not physical at all. And your place in it, your body, is also not physical at all. The universe is not physical. It's a computed reality. Okay? A computer computes that reality, and the computer sends you a message that explains what your avatar is experiencing. Remember, the computer sends you this message. It's not the world gives your avatar information, which then you send to your mind. It doesn't work that way. The computer computes the virtual reality, and the computer sends you a data stream and says, here's your avatar. He's smelling a rose and he thinks it smells good. Ouch. Oh, he just stuck his finger with that rose and there's a little drop of blood. Oh, he's sucking on the blood right now, hoping it'll stop. The computer sends you that message. You, as a piece of consciousness, get that message. And you interpret it. And you interpret it not necessarily as it came to you, but in terms of your own experience. Well, that's a pretty simple, obvious thing. You may interpret it in terms of other roses that you smelled. And if you've never smelled a rose, then you'll smell that and say, oh, well, that must be what roses smell like. Because it was given to you in a data stream that your avatar smelled a rose. So now you smell it and say, oh, that's a rose. Or, yes, that smells like other roses I've smelled like. That's up to you, the consciousness, to put that stuff together, if you can. Right. So then you decide what to do about it. Well, maybe you decide to hold your arm up in the air and look at the sunlight that flows through the rose petals to see, if there's any iridescence there or some other beauty that you could examine that has to do with this lovely flower. So you do that. So up goes your hand and the rose is up and the sunlight streaming through it. And the larger conscious system computes all that. It makes your character's hand goes up. It makes the sunshine through it. It makes the sparkle. of the light coming through the rose petals, and it sends that data to you. Now you have that data. You see how it works. So it's not that the physical reality is updating, is giving you information to your consciousness, and then it's not in that order. It's a virtual reality. The computer computes the virtual reality. The virtual reality does not exist anywhere except in the minds of the players. It's just computed. Then the larger conscious system sends you a data stream. You interpret it as what your avatar is experiencing. Now, if you've never smelled a flower before, if you've never seen a flower before, okay, then the computer sends you a picture of what you're experiencing, and you look at that and you say, what's that? And you may not know. So you may ask somebody, you may say, well, Avatar, go ask the person standing there what this is. And they'll say, that's a rose. And you go, oh, that's a rose. Okay, you'll file that away in your memory now. Ah, rose, and that's what it smells like. You see, so it's all an interactive game between you and the computer. There is no virtual reality, just you and the computer.
Can we clarify for the audience that who might not know how you use metaphors, that the computer you're speaking of is a metaphor for how you have discovered the system works?
Yeah, it's a metaphor for source, the computer, the larger consciousness system. And in my book, I break that down. It's called the big computer. That's the subset of the larger conscious system that computes the rendering engine, for our particular virtual reality. But these are more metaphors just to make it easier to talk about things. But yes, the big computer is the metaphor for source. It's consciousness. Consciousness is an information system. So the larger conscious system is an information system. Like any information system, it sorts and, wheels and deals in information. It understands information. It's conscious. It's a larger consciousness system. It is conscious. It understands the information. It understands what's going on. And it's sending you this data stream so that you can learn what a rose is, what it looks like, that roses have thorns, what that feels like. You can learn all kinds of things through your experience. But the larger conscious system lets you experience and do your actions by allowing you to do, well, can I put it this way, by taking a random draw from a probability distribution of the possibilities. So there you are, you've never seen a rose before, maybe you've never seen a flower before. Okay. Now there's some possibilities of what you might do. You may eat it, see if it tastes good. You may just look at it for a while and then ask somebody else about it. You may take a picture of it and try to look it up in a book. There's all kinds of things that you could do in response to seeing that flower. And each one of those has a probability that you will do it. A random draw is taken out of those probability distribution of those possibilities, and then that's what you do. See, that's what you do. Now you say, well, then I don't have free will. No, that's not the case. You're making that choice. You don't have to make that choice. You can make some other choice. You don't have to, you can do any of those things. You can apply your own free will to it and do something totally unexpected from what was thought to be possible or probable, because you do have free will. But the system has a set of those possibilities, and that's what it's prepared for you to do. You do something it's not prepared for, well, it's got to recalculate. Just like your little GPS tells you when you make a wrong turn. Recalculating, it has to recalculate. So you have the free will to make your choices. The system is ready with a whole lot of alternatives in order to be ready to send you back the data that fits your experience. And when it does that, then you get that experience and you do with it what you will. So you learn things. Next time you see a flower, you might think all flowers are called roses. You may look at a daisy and say, oh, look, another rose. And you'll eventually find out that that's not the case. Through interaction with other players, probably they'll tell you that's not the case. So then you'll have that to put in your memory. But it's just an interactive dance between the computer, the server, and you, the player. There is no virtual reality. The whole virtual reality is just information that you get to interpret, just like it is in World of Warcraft.
In order to make choices. That recalculating feature is very interesting. That is what turns up the quality of your consciousness by the choice that you make. You make a really good choice, you're consistent with that, recalculating and erasing. This is why you can erase some of the people hang on to some of the not good things they've done and are stuck in that loop. And as long as your next choice is good, it's constantly recalculating to a better quality. Would you agree with that kind of
Sure.
analysis?
Sure.
Thank you. Thanks, Tom. I hope that helps, Jan.
Yeah. So when I said that, it does that random draw from that probability distribution of the possibilities, and that's what you do, that's not necessarily what you're going to do. That's just a calculated probability. That's a future probability of all the possibilities of what you do. And that's what it expects you to do. But if you do something different, well, then it has to recalculate. But that's what it expects you to do. But you have free will. You do whatever you please. But whatever you do, you have to deal with the consequences of the choice that you make. And that's where you learn.
Thank you so much. I hope that helps, Jan. Thanks for your question.
I and MBT Events hope you liked this video. We will continue to post videos for free on my YouTube channel, but please understand, these videos are expensive to produce. They represent many thousands of hours of production and editing, as well as all the necessary audiovisual equipment, computers, and software. If you find something of significant value in our videos, please consider supporting their production through our Patreon account or through a one-time donation. It would be very much appreciated. The links are in the description below. Thank you.